Infrastructure bond. You saw it listed at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and the government is looking forward to at least raising some 44.8 billion shillings, process that will be utilized to support the construction of a 66,000-seater Talanta Sports Stadium that is ongoing right now. We have indeed in Nyoro, as just had mentioned, saying that the government is coming up with this kind of facility so that it does not seem. He's saying the government is coming up with this kind of facility so that it does not seem like our debt is growing, when in reality we are essentially operating another secret book of debt. One secret book was a fuel levy. The second is a Talanta bond under the auspices of the sports fund, he claimed. Of course, this has been a story that has been hogging our headlines even last week. People were saying total cost of Emirates Stadium is 66 billion shillings. The total cost of Talanta Stadium is 144 billion shillings plus interest. You're saying this is a con. Let me begin with you, Senator Richard Onyonka. What do you think about this?
About the stadium costing 145 billion?
Right, and Emirates, they're giving a comparison. Okay, I've not been...
I mean, Dibal, what do you want me to say? There's nothing I can say. I mean, if we are not able to get SGR to be electrified from Mombasa to do 250, 300 kilometers per hour to be in Kisumu in 1.5 hours using electricity, and the amount of money that is supposed to be used for converting that rail from where it is right now, where it's like a truck, into becoming what Tanzania has done, doesn't have to cost more than 100 billion. But we are ready to spend 100 billion on a stadium. Doesn't it say about what our priorities are?
In fact, the last time I checked with the SGR to be converted to or being electrified,
yes,
the government needed, I think that was almost 6 years ago, 4 billion shillings.
Exactly.
Right.
Number two, do I need to sit here and discuss about how we are spending money, whether it was 10 billion shillings in a hospital, not a hospital, in a stadium, when you wake up every morning in the city of Nairobi and see how individuals are walking on foot to industrial area because we can't do a tram station, which is supposed to cost, according to Sakaja, 6 billion shillings. A tram station that picks people from Kawangware to industrial area, picks them from industrial area to Kawangware, that picks guys from Kikuyu to industrial area, or from industrial area to Kikuyu, brings people to the stadium wherever they are going. I mean, does somebody have to go and get a technical expert to come and say, please fix the tram station of Nairobi City? Or do you need all engineers to come from MIT in the US to come and tell you that Nairobi rings around the city? It needs a highway which is suspended so that you decongest the city, so that the economy grows, so that... I don't have to say much.
All right.
For me, these are commonsensical things.
But that is the governor should work.
Can I say this, Riba?
Yes, please.
I think the whole process of, and I find it so difficult to pronounce it, securitization. I got it right?
Yeah, you've done well.
Yes, oh, thank you.
Come and sit here. This is what we are paid for to do.
I think the whole process, there's nothing illegal about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
My only issue is, whatever proceeds we have from it must be equitably distributed all over the country, and in prioritization of the needs of the country. Because I know that in the previous years, we've all shouted at the budgets that we've passed and what we've seen happen, that despite the fact that the national debt is growing, it is growing, but only particular certain parts of the country is benefiting from the money out of national debt. Why? And yet, when it comes to repayment of that debt, each part of this country has to pay for that debt. So for me, the issue is, whatever proceeds that we are making must actually be equitably distributed and in terms of priority, the needs of the country, so that we are not seen to be wasteful. And that is one of the things that was even in that MOU that we signed between ODM and UDA, that what is the state of national debt now? How are we dealing with it? How are we spreading it out to every part of this country? So for every Kenyan, and part of the issues that the Gen Zs went out on the streets last year was people want to feel that there's some form of equality and equity, so that we don't think that other parts are ignored while other parts are developing. Because if it's a tax burden, it's being shared by every part of this country. We all have to pay taxes. So if there's anything coming out of that burden, any positive thing coming out of that burden, let it be shared, because we are also sharing the burden of paying of taxes. That is all I have to say about that.
And of course, we are not really underestimating the place of the sports economy.
No, we are not.
But the question is, in terms of asset sweating and asset utilization, because we're sinking 144 billion shillings here. A case in point, like we have Kasarani, what does it do? During the week? How is it, you're talking about proceed, how will we have return of investment from Talanta? In terms of priority, are we really meriting our priorities right that we can sink in 144 billion? And that asset sweating will not be actually yielding much. We're not like iconic Manchester or iconic Real Madrid that we know will fill in the stadium every weekend and we recoup that money.
I agree. You are telling. I remember when South Africa hosted World Cup, and later after the World Cup, there were many stadiums that were left in that depleted situation.
Yes,
that's the reality of life. Secondly, let me begin. This securitization is important, because now that we have unsustainable public debt, we will continue using securitization and even PPPs, private-public partnership. Although even the use of expressway, although I am happy that media are exposing the real phases of expressway heist, because we have questioned in the Senate and National Assembly who really gets this, how much are we getting from expressway? No one has given us a figure, and I'm happy the media are doing a splendid job to expose individuals. Number two, in fact, what we should be pushing, and I want to appeal to my colleagues, we need to do, I had thought in the beginning of our administration that we could form a commission of inquiry into state capture, like what happened with Kuptas of the South Africa. Because we really need to know, where did this 10 trillion go to? If we go, for example, to Kisumu West or Kisumu County, can we get a project that was funded through 10 trillion Kenya shillings, or in Kisii or in Nandi? The sad reality is no. So we should begin by auditing public debt. And I want to appeal to my colleagues, both in the National Assembly and the Senate, that we must ask the question, where is this 10 trillion went to? Number two, the raise of 2 trillion is to sustain the economy, because if you look at the projections by KRA, the maximum we can raise is over 2 trillion Kenya shillings. We have a national, and I remember finance and budget, when you were negotiating between division of revenue between National Assembly and the Senate, we wanted 465 billion. The reason we were told the counties will only take 415 billion is because of the public debt. We're having 4.2 trillion budget, a deficit budget of 2 trillion Kenya shillings. To finance, I have roads that have stolen in Nandi, around 4 of them for the last 5 to 10 years. I need to be fixed. You remember, and I'm happy, my sister Rosa has indicated that the budget we have passed before was very skewed. Because I remember in the last couple of 2 or 3 budgets, one region through Mau Mau roads were receiving 540 billion. As in Nandi, we were receiving 56 million. To fix around 4 tarmac roads that needed around 10 billion. One constituency was receiving almost 20 billion. Is it fair? It is not. So we must push, even as we securitization of some of these things, we must agree that it should be equal and equitable. And I want to appeal to you, as my county, Nandi and North Rift, and even I think Kisumu and Western Kenya, even Kisii, we depend on sports, athletics, football, and rugby, and many other sports, volleyball. Our people are good. What we need to do is to partner. I remember during Nyayo, there was a time that I think, was it Coca-Cola, which wanted to take over Nyayo?
Yes.
Yes. We need to partner. I agree with you. Now that we have Talanta Stadium, is it possible to partner with some of these local clubs to ensure that Kenya Premier League used for that? Is it possible to partner with this Safaricom, to partner with international organizations, the way we do with our airports? I remember we must agree, for example, JKI looks like a kiosk in some of the airports. Some of us have a privilege to pass through. So as a country, as we securitize, and I'm surprised when people leave office, they become somehow clever over time. And I'm happy that the UD has taken action against the member who indicated, because this member was the chair of the budget, he ensured the National Assembly, the skewed budget was being passed without due regard to the rest of this country. A Kenyan in Namanga, a Kenyan in Kuria, a Kenyan in Wajir, a Kenyan in Ramu, a Kenyan in Lamu, Manda Islands, a Kenyan in Kapsabet, a Kenyan in Kisumu, a Kenyan in Borabu.
So we have two
as a right to access the national budget. It cannot be that one region is getting, and the reason President William Ruto, and I want to say this without fear of contradiction, the reason President William Ruto is being fought day and night is because he has agreed with the principle of equality and equity in terms of resource allocation in this country. That's why it's being fought.
All right.
Because some people suffer from what we call exaggerated self-importance of elitism, because they say they have numbers, they have resources, unlike other regions. What would you tell the people of, for example, where my sister comes from and Onyonga comes from, they didn't vote for the president, but they pay taxes. Whoever is in power, I see people fighting to be in power. They must ensure, if you become today the president of the country, your agenda is to ensure from Turkana to Donyang, all the way to Namanga, to Malaba, all the way to Lunga, to Elwak. You must ensure that that means that the government works for you, regardless of how they voted. And that is the big fight that we have in this country. So these people are becoming clever by saying securitization, there is hiding. By the way, I know in Parliament, because Senator Onyonga sits in Finance and Budget, the CS Mbadi, and he's doing a good job, by the way. John Mbadi, as an expert from ODM, is doing a very good job. They give medium term the status of debt. Why does the members of Parliament will go and audit the debt at that point in time?
But what information is the party using? Because the Auditor General, even, she's at pains to give the correct position.
And that is why I did answer, because Richard comes on board. And that is why I'm saying, if Parliament were serious, we should demand an audit of 10 trillion Kenya shillings. Let us know the projects.
Thank you.
Because why would the OAG be struggling?
All right.
Even on the issue of IFM where there was a question to it, we can still improve on it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I am extremely happy to hear my brother Cherargei speak as if he came from heaven and found this country, strangely, with a 10 trillion shilling debt. He was in the previous government, which was with President William Ruto, where he was with Uhuru Kenyatta. Why were we in ODM making noise about state resources? Because they were taking those resources to certain areas, and they were taking some to his. You see,
which are these areas?
Just wait. He said Nandi got 56 billion. Kisi
got 56 million. Please, point of.
Hold on, 56 million. But that is not the true fact. No.
But Mau Mau got 540 billion.
Don't talk about Mau Mau. All of us in Kenya have the attitude where we think once we are in power, we take it all. So don't blame Uhuru. I will not blame William Ruto. These are children of this dysfunctional system which has failed. That is why Gen Zs are in the streets. We have refused to audit what we have borrowed. We are continuing to borrow without saying why we are borrowing.
So Kenya,
the law used to say that we should borrow, bring the money to the National Assembly. The National Assembly approves. These are the people's representatives. We actually abdicated on our responsibility and handed that power to the executive. The executive can now borrow money without consulting us. That's where we are. So before he starts saying how we are going to talk about this equity thing, my brother Cherargei, you know I love you, I respect you, I have a lot of respect. What I'm saying is this. Yes, Let us audit state capture. Let us audit historical injustices.
Yes.
And in finality, let us audit human rights violations.
But
let us audit. You see what is happening?
Why do we need to audit?
But wait,
but
Justice
ODM has proposed a people working committee.
Wait,
that came up with the report.
because, Dibal, the audit will tell you in which mess you are in.
But we already have an audit.
No,
when it comes
there
to
is no audit.
injustice.
The controller budget and the auditor general don't know what we owe.
Okay, the president. Just a moment. Yeah,
the National Assembly
But
and we in the Senate.
Just a moment. But the president also attempted to come up with a task force so that we may audit these debts. I think it was challenged in court, isn't it?
Let me ask you,
Yeah.
why
Audit.
would you get a task force and yet you are not using Parliament and the Senate? I mean National Assembly and the Senate. Why?
But I thought
These are the people's... Wait.
Because
Dibal.
you failed as Parliament.
Dibal, just wait. If we have failed and if we accept that we have failed, then let's go for elections. That's what democracy requires.
Is Kenya a failed state?
Most likely.
Then why
We're
would
serving in
Matiang'i
a
want
failed
to
state.
lead a failed
He is
state?
coming to fix the failed state.
But he was
Then
part
if
of
the
it.
state is failed.
I'm saying...
How can you fix a failed state?
I am saying during the time he was there, I don't know why you are bringing Matiang'i, but let me talk about him. When he was...
I was just asking.
Look at what he did when he was as a minister. Capitation was going to school, teachers were being paid.
No. We were
My
out.
brother,
Okay.
We
the
were out.
second point
You
I
know,
wanted to raise, the
it's not
second
the one
point.
who has come from heaven.
They are the one.
Let him
No,
finish.
The one who just
you are
came
the
from
one.
heaven.
Let him finish.
On that matter.
You are the one who's talking about
Let him
Matiang'i.
No, I didn't talk about
Means
Matiang'i in bad
They are
faith.
so
I was
scared of
asking
my
him.
candidate. He's brilliant.
No, we are not scared of anybody.
Why would you bring his name?
Let us not go off the rails.
Why would you bring his name?
Okay, just a moment.
No, a right of
Point of
rebuttal
order.
before my sister comes on board is that have you realized since IEBC being reconstituted, all opponents of William Ruto have gone silent. In fact, they're hiding in United States of America. They're hiding.
All of
Number
them.
two, all of them. They are hiding in United.
No.
All of them are hiding in United States
All
of
the
America.
candidates
And I'm happy the agencies of America are dealing with
All
them.
the candidates-
Secondly,
Resource organization.
Speaking to
All
their
the
tribesmen,
candidates abroad.
speaking to their tribesmen in America.
Because they have not been stealing
speaking to their tribesmen
Okay, let's
in
have order.
America, not speaking to Kenyans. Number two, finally, on the issue, by the way, we are not new in Jerusalem. He's the only one who just came from heaven. In fact, during Matiang'i era, he's the one who switched media off. You remember that?
And then you
He's
got
the one
from-
who ensured bodies.
from where?
He's the one who
From-
ensured bodies are found in Rivayala.
And his
in
friends are the ones
containers.
who are
Okay.
taking
So,
those bodies
why-
to Yala.
no,
allow
His
me to
friends
bat it. Okay.
are the ones who are in government. Then, that's why we have...
But Matiang'i
if you are
was
serious,
acting deputy
bring an
president then.
inquest.
This is why
Bring an inquest.
Can we have Rosa?
Which
Don't
because we are
accuse-
ready.
Okay,
don't
just a moment.
accuse
Let's have-
somebody.
This
Your
is-
friends are the ones who are taking those bodies to Yala.
this is
Okay,
why
okay. I think we're going off the
Point of
rails.
order,
Bring an
Mr.
inquest.
Point of order, guys.
Bring an inquest.
I don't accuse.
You
I
can't
don't
accuse people here.
Okay.
who-
these men are ranting.
Dibal.
These
Yeah,
men are
No,
ranting.
you're not
Dibal,
going
I
anywhere.
don't have friends who are killing anybody.
Dibal, are
in
we-
fact,
Don't
it
make
is
me
Matiang'i.
mention
He
names.
was in charge
Don't
of
Are we
All
debating?
right.
I can mention names.
Point of order.
I have mentioned
Touch
names.
me a second.
I'm
Just
daring
touch
to
me a second.
mention
Onyoka,
names.
point of order,
Nobody
please.
can tackle that issue.
I'm daring
Okay,
him
tone
to
down, tone
mention
down.
Both
names,
of them were
All
in
of you.
government. They
All
were
right.
in that government.
including Matiang'i.
Dibal,
Okay.
You, Matiang'i, William, all of you are there.
But which
Okay.
means
Hold on your horse.
All of you are there.
Don't let me
Rosa,
say-
no.
No.
I'm giving you a chance to Rosa. Rosa, please.
this is a true. This shows that the country is now ready for women leadership. Because if you're going to have men ranting, not being able to talk, not being able to listen to one another, is this what the country is made
He's
of?
the one he didn't want
So
to
what I'm
listen.
saying is this, the situation in the country now is actually created by these men. Because they don't want to listen and talk to one another. They want to talk at each other. That is not what this country needs. And that is why the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga has come out to say that whatever has happened or is happening cannot go on. We need to talk and listen to one another. And we need to find an opportunity through which we can talk and listen to one another.
But we've talked a
and
good
that
game.
is
Why do we need? We've talked a
just
good
listen
game
to
as
me.
a country.
ODM is not Kenya.
What? No.
Kenya is bigger than ODM. Listen to me. Kenyans need to talk to one another and to listen to one another. And that is why the former Prime Minister has said that, or has suggested, and this is just his suggestion, which people can build on or people can tear apart, but come with another suggestion, which will give Kenyans an opportunity to talk, to dialogue. And that is why he's talking about a conclave.
But Kenyans are saying...
You might not agree with it.
Kenyans are saying...
Listen, you might not agree with it, but come up with whatever you think can be an alternative, so that we don't shout like these two men are shouting at one another. We begin to talk and listen. Because it's only through talking that will solve the problems of this country.
Just a moment, fidelity to the Constitution, right? They're saying Constitution, not a conclave. Because all these things that we need to seek to be addressed by the conclave already... They have been addressed in this
there are
Constitution.
so many things you're talking about.
Why would you spend a lot of money?
Just listen to me. We are talking about national debt, for example. And we are saying, let us have an audit of this national debt. And you are saying, we've had an audit before. It didn't work. Let us have this audit and let us know how was that money used.
Correct.
So that we move from there and don't make the same mistakes. Okay? So even if the Constitution was followed, we would not be in this situation. The truth is we are now in this situation. So let us come and talk and look at it and find a way of moving forward.
But Law Society of Kenya is asking you, why do we need another task force to audit the national debt? Or we have the Auditor General. She has all the instruments that you need to actually audit this debt. Why can't you empower her? As people have been asking, also this body's controller of budgets and Auditor General, they're being frustrated by the parliamentarians. You don't want to give them also, I think their funding also is being pared down. You know, it really beats me to understand why we are saying we have a conflict of interest. We're trying to stanch, we are trying to stanch the flow of corruption in this country, while the able bodies that are supposed to be doing this job, they're not given that attention.
But
why do we need a task force?
Dibal, we don't live in heaven. We live on this earth.
Correct.
Where you will have people not following the Constitution, but they're in some spaces or places of decision making. So now when we talk, we deal with those people. You know, but if you're saying that, oh, follow if the Constitution is followed, if this Constitution, the Kenyan Constitution was followed to the letter, really we'd have heaven in this country.
Indeed.
Correct.
But now that it's not, do we just say it's not, so let us keep fighting that it's not? We must find an opportunity
so where are we
to move
getting,
on from
where are we getting this money for a conclave?
It depends on what you think a conclave is. Why should it cost money?
Why should you use money?
But if you used money before?
No.
No. Even this NADCO report, why is it not being implemented by the
We are
National
implementing.
Assembly?
Sorry, can I call?
There are already nine bills.
Yeah, we have passed. There are already 9 bills.
Pills by pills.
Senator Onyonga, we have passed as a priority in the business of the houses that all 9 bills that were recommended by NADCO have been passed.
IBC, and which one else that we know?
We have a number of bills. I can't get over it, but we have a number of bills that we have passed into law, courtesy of the NADCO report. And I hope when the next time you invite us, we can just discuss NADCO report. We are always given priority on all NADCO bills, and all of them are totally 9, including the issue of IEBC.
So
when you say we have not implemented, we have implemented. One of the aspects is including even corruption, where conflict of interest bill has been ascended to law. So I can confirm you all the NADCO proposals, including policy and legislative intervention, we have done with it, because we have agreed and we have come together as ODM and UDA, and including other legislators within Parliament. We have sat and we have... In fact, any bill, and I can tell you because I sit in the Senate, and Senator Onyonga can confirm, and Madam Rosa can confirm, that any bill of NADCO has been given priority, unlike other bills. Because we believe after the NADCO meeting, where we talk as a country, we start talking for the benefit. And I agree with Raila Odinga says we have conclave. We don't need to use any resources. And he has proposed we can do it at the county level. We can use the county commissioners' offices to have a conversation. We don't need to hire. And we can have a discussion from there. Yeah, why would you want us to hire all?
Bal.
Okay, we need to wind up.
Yeah, that's a serious proposal.
I would like to say this. Because I have such high respect for my colleagues, I will not engage in the Dr. Fred Matiang'i's discussion.
Don't shout.
I think the public,
yes.
Madam Rose, politicians shout. So forgive me. The point I wanted to make
But
is that, number 2, I am not the one who started to discuss Dr. Matiang'i. Naturally, he decided so that then he could. But I'm comfortable.
Why do you get emotional when we discuss
When we
Matiang'i? We've discussed
Rose,
Sifuna here.
Rose.
No,
We have
just
discussed-
listen.
Madam
We have
Rose,
discussed
we have
Sifuna,
discussed
we've discussed Raila, we've discussed the
discussed
president,
Ruto.
Okay.
we've discussed the former deputy president
you.
who
Yes.
tried to
Can I have his
interfere.
head?
So
Can
why
I have my
Okay.
time? They're coming to
Can
you.
he just have his head so that he can...
Hold on.
Let
Can
me-
I
let
ask?
me-
Can I
let me
ask?
say this.
Can
When
I
it
ask
came to
my?
Matiang'i, the
Hold on.
tribal.
Can I ask?
Hold on.
Rose.
Hold
You
on.
know the tribal adorning Rose.
You can see who's being emotional about Matiang'i.
I'm not
It's
emotional.
my two colleagues.
I'm not emotional.
They are
I'm
shocked.
saying the
Just
reason
let him
when-
have his head. Okay.
They are
Because of
shocked.
time.
Matiang'i
Because of
was
time.
They are
mentioned,
shocked that the
tribal-
candidates.
Just a moment. Just a
tribal
moment.
adrenaline
Can he-
goes
can he-
up.
Okay, let him have
shocked
his head.
that other candidates are coming out and they're good. I think Kenyans will decide whether they deserve to be presidents or not. I don't think that it is in this place that we can make accusations about people who cannot defend
Kenyans will decide.
themselves.
Yes.
I would want Mr. Cherargei, the day he meets
But we-
Matiang'i, in a show like this or somewhere else, let him ask him. Number two,
In fact, you should invite
the country that I live in called
I'll deal with him.
the issues that this country has got are because of lack of the trust,
Yes.
and we have a trust deficit. That is why even when, I can tell you, and I think it's okay for me to pronounce it here, I have watched and seen and have agonized about the direction of the country. I have looked and said, do we need to sit down as a people and make noise, scream at each other, talk, come down and say, can we fix the country? I have always wished that that was the case. But the way Kenyan politics is playing out,
But you are opposing conclave.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
No, because...
No. Just let him finish. Let him finish.
Okay.
Have your time.
My apologies, you finish. But you agree with conclave of ODM Raila Odinga.
no, I don't.
Then why are you saying we come down?
Allow
Okay,
me.
just, let him
I was
finish.
making my, I was making,
Just a moment. Let him execute his point.
Honorable Cherargei, right
Okay,
now,
my apologies.
right now you are so excited about having Mzee Raila and ODM being in the broad-based government. 1 year ago, you were telling me how ODM is full of thugs, crooks, thieves, and idiots who just go to the streets with sufrias on their
Only
head.
a fool doesn't change.
Please, thank you. My argument,
where is that evidence
Thank
that
you.
I said
Let
that?
me make my case.
So no,
My argument is very simple.
yes.
I hope that your side will accept that this country is bigger than all of us. Whatever the largesse, the pacts, the deals, the transactions that are happening, the truth is this country needs people to talk with each other, sit and be honest with each other, talk about issues which are affecting this country on a daily basis, discuss those things that would add value for the country to move forward.
Correct.
My argument is we are too busy. Yes, we must be restitutive. Yes, we must correct the past mistakes. But we are engaged right now of a war of shooting from that corner to that corner, from this corner to that corner. And I fear...
But let me ask you.
Yes.
What would be so discernibly different about this conclave that the BBI report is not really captured? We went all about
the truth is this.
47th country of this
The
country.
truth, what I would have
What
hoped...
will be so new and fresh and so eureka moment about this report that has not been discussed?
What will be new is, for example, if my ODM party decides that they are going to say, if you're caught in a corruption scandal, we'll jail you for life. If my party can stand up and say, we are going to agree that nationally, the national government, which President William Ruto is the president, and we are engaged in, resources are going to be shared equitably, fairly through the budget. Making sure that when Kenyans are employed, we need to know how many teachers we have in the TSC. We don't have the numbers. How many public servants do we have? We don't. County governments, we don't. So we are running a dysfunctional system and pretending that it's working.
Ibali, you should not allow your show to be a rumor milling center. These facts of how many do we have is in Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. You can get that report of 2019.
Dibal,
Secondly,
have we ever done biometric registration of all teachers in the country? What
the
is
Teachers Service Commission...
Have we ever done a biometric registration of all the military people? No. Have we ever done all the biometrics of the state workers in the Republic of Kenya? No. County governments, maybe two.
You know that's dangerous because we appropriate budget for those payment of salaries to teachers. So if you say we don't know number, what are we appropriating for? That's a dangerous statement.
Most likely,
Kenyan National
most
Bureau of
likely ghost
Statistics.
teachers.
Okay. We need to bring
Can you allow me now that I listen to him peacefully?
Then we get to our closing remarks.
Yeah, yes. And I agree that all these issues that he's saying that we need to talk is through conclave. You cannot be saying, let us talk. Then we ask you, how do we talk? Then you say, no, we don't. So the Senator Onyonga must pick a side.
I am the side.
We don't want leaders. We don't want leaders.
We have failed.
We
will
don't want leaders who take Chinese dish called sweet and sour. You must pick a stand. Or for people who are good Christians like some of us, you don't like to be Christians of Ludokea.
You still don't know my position? You don't know my position?
Let him finish, please.
I'm shocked he doesn't know my position.
Let him finish.
I think when ODM came to broad-based, Senator Onyonga is still in his wild chase. But that is beside the point. That is why he needs to pick a point. You're either cold or hot.
I am cold. I am against the broad-based government.
Now the ODM Central Member Committee here, official, should invite him for disciplinary.
Absolutely, and that is their choice. Let them do whatever they want.
And I'm daring,
Okay,
can I conclude so that Madam Rosa, I'm daring Onyonga, if he's a man enough, with still something, he can resign in ODM and run again in Kisi.
If you are man enough, remove me. I was not brought here on a silver platter. I won my seat.
I know you won, but I'm saying even Raila Odinga in the early 90s when he he resigned. And
Raila was not running for senator.
All right, thank you.
No.
Take me to Kisi and
let me finish. You know now you have
go home.
You need to protect me from heckling of Senator.
No, you are the one heckling.
No, I'm not heckling.
You're bringing issues that don't add value to this conversation.
This issue of running, we must have a conversation. Instead of talking at each other, we must start talking. And I think former Prime Minister has given us a proposal. He has said the best we can do is we can have a conversation. And one of the ways is conclave. In fact, to enrich that issue of conclave, we should not see any politician in it. We should have maybe religious leaders, or youth, and other stakeholders within a society set up. Let us do it at the county level. Make a resolution. Petition us. You are forgetting in the Constitution, there is a provision to petition institutions, to petition Parliament, to petition Executive, to petition Judiciary. That is the design of our Constitution. It cannot be that our friends who don't see the value in what we are saying imagines that if it is Raila Odinga or broad-based government proposing a certain way, it is not in good faith. It is in good faith. And you know, there are people who have sacrificed in this country like Raila Odinga for the benefit of the state. You remember in the last Gen Z protest, he sacrificed for this nation to be stable and peaceful and to be cohesive in terms of equity and equality. In the previous, during the Ashik of 2018, he did the same. In 2007-2008, he did the same. So unless, and you know he's not power hungry, like some of our opponents, like the former Premier, the former Deputy President, the former Minister of Interior, and others, they are just hungry for power. And that is why when you ask them, what is your agenda for Kenyans, they say their priority is to remove Ruto from power. So what? They don't have an agenda.
Thank you.
Their agenda is for just power hungry.
Thank you.
And we know what they want.
Thank you. Rosa?
I just want to say this. You asked a question, a pertinent question, that what is the difference between BBI and the conclave?
Correct.
How come we didn't achieve what BBI had propagated? And I want to say that the biggest problem with BBI was not the content in it. The content was progressive, but it was the timing and the manner in which it was sold or brought out to Kenyans. The timing was at a time when political temperatures, people had already taken sides and campaign mood was already setting.
Just as we have it today.
No.
There's no difference.
No.
There's
people, I think now people are not, political parties are talking and coming up with their hope or coalitions that they hope to make, okay? But we are still 2 years into an election, okay? At that time when BBI was sold to Kenyans, I think we're almost 1 year into an election, which was too close to an election. And so people took sides without actually political sides, without looking at the content of BBI. So talking now, but that doesn't mean that if BBI failed, then dialogue has failed. Dialogue cannot fail. Dialogue is what is going to help this country.
Correct.
But in my closing remark, I'd like to say this. What the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is proposing is just his suggestion, his proposal, and he's invited Kenyans to either build on it or to come with a different aspect of dialogue, which they think will suit them or which they think will be more suitable for the country. But the gist of what he's saying is we need to speak to one another. And tonight you've seen what's happening on this table. You know, if we don't speak to one another, then we are just shouting and we don't really get to come up with solutions. I also want to tell Kenyans that anybody who's thinking that Raila betrayed them, Raila did not betray them by working with UDA or coming into this MOU with UDA. And if we look at the 10-point agenda and we make sure that the 10-point agenda is operationalized, this country will be the country that you are looking for, I am looking for, the Gen Zs are looking for, the older people are looking for, because it will be a good country. And because of that, ODM sat yesterday and took an audit of how far this 10-point agenda has come and where the gaps are. And I want to tell you that going forward, before the 1 year ends, we will see a lot of the items that are on this 10-point agenda being effected. Because the one thing that we know is the Constitution talks about respect of life. And one of the things that was written as a big point or a big agenda in this memorandum was that respect of life. And extrajudicial killings, abductions must stop. And the team that is put up from both sides is going to ensure that it stops.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are talking about compensation. Compensation is a big thing because when do you start and when do we stop? But we are saying let's go far back up to even 2022. The families who lost their loved ones are not going to get them back. But at least there is something in compensation. The acknowledgement that yes, you lost your child. Money is not bringing it back, but at least we take responsibility and we are giving you something just to, the Africans say, to wipe away your tears. Doesn't bring the dead people back, but at least makes you feel like somebody has acknowledged.
It doesn't need a conversation, does it?
It does need a compensation.
No, we have an act.
Why that? No, hold on.
Compensation
no,
act
no, no.
needs to be implemented.
The reason why that needs a conversation,
You don't need an act,
listen,
you
it needs a conversation because that act doesn't stipulate how much should be paid to somebody, to a lost life. It doesn't talk about how much should be paid to somebody who was maimed. It doesn't talk about how far back do you go into payment. It doesn't talk about that. So that can only be done through conversation. And that is what we're talking about.
You can bring it back to the National Assembly to amend it. And all those is, yes.
But the National Assembly can only amend what people think is right.
Correct.
And through that conclave or through conversation or through the 5-team that is going to be formed, they will crystallize it and bring what their decision or proposal is, and Kenyans will agree with it or not agree with it.
Thank you, Rosa. Right, let's get to your closing remarks, Senator.
I just want to say I've had a wonderful evening here. I hope we'll do it again with the two of my very highly respected brothers and sisters. I think Kenyans know what needs to be done for our country. And I am hopeful that the leadership of this country understands that unless we are willing to sit down and actually fix the dysfunctionality that exists within our state, we're in trouble. I mean, you have cases, Dibal, where people are talking about, oh, I wanted to come and invest in Kenya. When I come, people are asking me to give them kickbacks. I want to do this. I can't get a piece of land. I mean, there are certain basics we must put into place for even an investor who's coming to set up a factory in Kenya to say, if I invest, I know I'll recover my money in the next 2 years or 3 years. These are things that can be done. They are not rocket science. So I hope that leadership will have a positive and hopeful engagement with the public. And what Honorable Senior Rosa is talking about on what we need to do about, especially the events that are taking place in our country for the last 2 years. I really hope that my party, ODM, is going to sit down and come up with a proposal which will give Kenyans and say, for the people who've been violated historically, what do we do?
Thank you.
What is the restitutive justice that we need to implement for people to have closure? What are we going to do about our bad behavior? All right? We always laugh when people are arrested on Friday. Why is it that we arrest people on Friday? Why can't we be a civilized society, which I get a message saying, Honorable Nyonka, we've been summoned, please come to Central Police Station. We have a matter we want to interrogate. If I don't come, then the police come to look for me. I mean, there are things we can do to make Kenya a good country. Mm-hmm. Yes.
But that happens because we've seen cases, for example, the allegation of a member of parliament who actually abducted or kidnapped himself and then did all those, you know. So that's the reason why sometimes it happens.
Yeah, we need to bring
Maybe
it close.
In conclusion, what I can say just in 30 seconds is that this country is bigger than all of us. Let us keep talking for the benefit of Kenyans, despite our political interests. In conclusion, I have seen IBC have indicated that there is no law on how to recall members of parliament.
Yes.
I think we did pass a law on how to recall members of county assembly. I think if IBC feels that this law should be in place, they can give a proposal on how we can do a law on recalling of members of parliament. I think it behooves all of us that we must have a structured way of removing somebody. Even as we talk today, you know, we use standing order rules in impeachment, apart from the constitution of governors, president and deputy president, and we have proposed that we should have a law that guides on a procedure on removal of a governor from office. Finally, is on a small matter of banning of businesses in Tanzania. I want to appeal. I think that was very unfortunate and ill thought by the government of Tanzania because we are interdependent. We have symbiotic relationship. I know of colleagues and friends, even senior state officials from Tanzania who their children are schooling in Kenya. Mm-hmm. Kenya and Tanzania should be cohesive. We should be encouraging more businesses. Because if you say, for example, you cannot do touring business, for example, does it mean if tourists come to Kenya and they want to visit Masai Mara, does it mean you will, if you are a tour firm, you go at the border of Namanga and then add over tourists to somebody they had not booked on? Mm-hmm. I think as a country, we want, by the way, I heard in conclusion, President Yoweri Museveni talks about United States of America. The reason they are powerful is because they had the largest, even China, 1 billion, and even in US is 300 million plus. What we should be pushing is a more market for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Cherargei Samson, Senator of Nandi. I really do appreciate you coming through this morning. Always a treat having you. Rosa,
this morning or this evening?
Yeah, did I say this morning?
Yes, I think
I'm so used to
it's almost midnight.
It's almost midnight.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming through, Rosa Buyu,
yes.
As well. We really do appreciate you coming. This is your maiden appearance here.
Oh.
We really do appreciate it. And also...
Is there a cake to welcome her?
Yeah, we shall prepare a cake. Huh?
Yeah.
And then Nyoyo now next time that you've talked about it will be here.
Original, not
original, not
this. Watoto wa Serela.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Unaweka binzari ya chui.
Thank you very much.
I really
God
do
bless.
appreciate a nice show. In essentials, unity. Non-essentials, of course, liberty. In all things, charity, they say. We agree on essentials. In non-essentials, of course, we may disagree. But in all things, let's have charity as a country that we have only one Kenya. Thank you for your valid company. You've been watching The Insert here on TV 47. Do have a restorative night.